I have to say, as I always do, good morning, Unity of Payson.
Good morning.
Good morning to you who are with us online, but maybe not in Payson. Would you just take a moment to be quiet with me, to join with me in an opening prayer? God of all goodness and of all peace, whatever comes to us is for our good. Even technology that doesn't seem to be cooperating is for our good. So as we join this morning, let us affirm that great goodness that is our very nature as well, because the divine resides within us, around us, and in all that is. Bless each one who has joined us today. Whatever special need or challenge, whatever special joy may be there for them, we welcome those things, and we embrace each other, because we know we're not separate from one another, but we are one. We are grateful, 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 and so it is.
Hi, I'm Donna. I'm your platform hostess with the mostest. Good morning. In person, live. The last time I was here in person live was about 6 months ago. So I'm excited to be here. And hi, Phyllis. And we have a new sanctuary to meet in. And I really like the energy here and the welcoming that the folks at the United Methodist Church, their attitude, their welcoming attitude. We went out to, there's a lot of different hallways around here. So we went to scout, Betty and I went to scout to see if anybody was lost, in the hallways. And we ran into several folks from United Methodist Church, and they said, "Oh, we will tell them where you are, don't worry." And it was so reassuring that they're rooting for us to get together and to come here as our new place together. So we're glad you're with us this morning. We want to recognize those who are new to Unity of Payson. If you're with us here in person and have not been with us before, we invite you to remain after the service for some meet and greet. And if you're here with us virtually, or you're watching the recording and are new, please leave your email for us at unityofpayson.org, and we can connect with you and send you our Monday email newsletter, so you can be informed of all the wonderful activities that you can join with us. And most of them are on Zoom, so it doesn't really matter where you are, on the planet, you can join us, depending on the time zone. So again, we warmly welcome you, and we have a prayer. It's very quick, 3 lines, 3 affirmations. And so I'm going to say it and then do call and response, since it's not on the screen. And it is: we love you, we bless you, we welcome you. Together. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And now it's time for our opening song, Swing Wide the Doors. And I'm going to ask those who are here if you wouldn't mind to stand for our opening song. And bring up. Yeah.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go now. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for, and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Oh, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper dive. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. All right now, swing wide the doors. The time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of
Whoopsies. Are we gonna have slides today? No, no slides today. Okay, we'll just do call and response for those of us here. Okay, so now it is the time for our gratitudes. We're grateful for those who support Unity of Payson with your time, with your talent, with your treasure. We're grateful for the events of last week, which included morning cafe every morning, 9:30. Monday through Saturday, and on Zoom. And for those of you virtually, you can find the Zoom channel by going to unityofpayson.org. Qigong and Tai Chi on Wednesdays and Sundays with Teresa at 4:30. Today is at 5 though. Just for today, it's at 5. We're thankful for the technology that allows us to meet both personally and virtually. So Unity is grounded in meditation and affirmative prayer, and we have trained prayer chaplains to support you. I'm one of them. If you see somebody with a stole like this, that means they're a prayer chaplain. And if you have a prayer request, simply tap us on the shoulder after the service, and we will find a place to support you in prayer and find a sacred, secure spot. So you may also call or email your request. Now this is a long email, and once you get it, it's hard to forget it. It's to Rev Neal, so it's neal.unityofpayson@gmail.com. neal.unityofpayson@gmail.com. Our prayer team and Silent Unity will join you in prayer for 30 days. All prayer requests are held sacred and confidential. Like I said earlier, you can leave a phone number or email with your request, and a chaplain will contact you if you want personalized prayer support, or you can leave your request online at unityofpayson.org. When I do that next time, I want everybody to say org. All right. Unity of Payson's theme for June is integrity. And here is the affirmation, and I will say it and then we'll say it together. The first part is, I am by nature a divine expression. Together, I am by nature a divine expression. I speak the truth in love. Together, I speak the truth in love. And live in harmony with my values. And live in harmony with my values. Thank you for repeating that. When we put words and voice and expression to these core truths, it really is a powerful mechanism to attract that truth into our lives. So the power of the spoken word. Today's speaker is Rev Neal Worthington, and the title of his talk is Sound Values Truly Spoken. Sound Values Truly Spoken. And now it's time for our metaphysical moment. Truth transcends our physical experience of life and of our world. Please join with me as we consider this expression of truth with a capital T. Truth with a capital T. Sunday, June 5th, 2022, from the Daily Word. The light of truth shines in my heart. Like a kaleidoscope shifting patterns of dazzling colors, my life is always changing. I enjoy pleasurable moments while learning and growing through the more unpleasant ones. No matter where I find myself along the spectrum of human experience, I take comfort in spiritual truth. Spirit is changeless, bless you. My rock in times of struggle, and the wings that lift me in times of ease and bliss. I remain steady and calm as I navigate life's changes, finding comfort in the truth of God as absolute goodness. And now I want us to say an affirmation together. I'll say it first. I am good at receiving my good. Together. I am good at receiving my good. As I travel along my path, the steady light of truth shines from within me. And from 1 John 2:8. Yet I am writing you a new command that is true, because the darkness is passing away and the true light is already shining. It's time for our Reverend Neal to give his message.
Check on a couple of things. Tom, are we recording?
Yes.
Thank you. There are a number of people who join us later than this time. One of our members, Jean, is living in Texas, and this time is her lunchtime. And she doesn't want to miss lunch, but she loves to watch with us afterwards. So Jean, we're glad you're here. The theme that I chose for this month is one that I haven't heard very much in Unity, and that is integrity. Integrity. I think I did it because I think there's a lack of integrity in our society, in our community sometimes. Then I pulled back and I said, wait, what I see out in front of me has something to do with what's in here too. So I think there's a need for integrity for each of us, and there certainly is for me. And that's why it was on my heart to speak about this.
Yeah,
I'd like to just take that,
don't need lemons.
that affirmation that we have. I am an expression of the divine. I speak the truth in love. I live in harmony with my values. That's not the exact wording, but that's where what it's all about. So first of all, thank you, Donna. I'll just go on. What's integrity? Integrity is a firm adherence to your values. Integrity is honest and of a high moral nature. Integrity is one more thing. It's also completeness. Think of the integrity of something. It's complete. It's together. So as we look at integrity, we look at it in that light. We'll talk a little bit today about remembering, about forgetting, about pretending. We'll talk about sound values, of course. We'll talk about speaking the truth in love. So let's plunge into it. Remembering, or should I say not forgetting. Scott Bolzen. Anybody that name sound familiar to anybody? This is an Arizonan, so I thought somebody might know of Scott Bolzen. Scott was a bright young man who attended Northern Illinois University, played football, and was actually good enough for that small school to be drafted in the NFL. So for 2 years, he was a professional football player. He was injured then, and he retired from that. Then he moved to Arizona. Moving to Arizona, he started a business, first in financial services and then as an contract aircraft provider, and became the largest one in all of Arizona. Well, Scott was kind of on top of the whole thing. Life was going well for him, except one day at work, he went into the restroom, fell, hit his head, and lost all memory. Amnesia, retrograde amnesia. He was suddenly without memory. Well, he was tested a gazillion times because it was such a severe case of amnesia. His family and his wife wanted to help him, so they reminded him of things in his past. They showed him pictures. They tried to recreate those experiences for him, to no avail. He did not remember any of it. He remembered how to eat, how to drive, but any long-term memory was gone for him. Except that he took the challenge and began to recreate that memory. Little by little, he, with the help of his family, began to bring things back into his memory, and then he chose the kind of life he wanted to live and the memories he wanted to create. Scott Bolzen, a hero that we've never heard about. Well, Scott, when he lost that memory, had a complete loss of identity. He did not know who he was. I'd like to talk about that first, identity, because I think that we sometimes don't remember who we are. We have lost our identity, or the identity that we have may be a little bit different than what truly is our identity. So the challenge is that we're creations of the divine. We're divine expressions. We're one with the divine. There's no separateness. There's no loss of connection. But somehow, when we come here to earth, we maybe keep some of that for a few years, 3, 4, 5, 7, maybe even, and then we lose it. We lose the memory of who we are because we get involved in what's past, what's going to happen in the future, and our whole identity forms around that, for the most part. Eckhart Tolle, in his book, The New Earth, talks a lot about ego. And he talks about it as the voice in the head that keeps repeating over and over and over again something that, as a little extra there.
That's like our head.
Yeah, that's like the head.
The voices in the
That's a
head.
voice in the head. This is an explanation of it.
Example.
Okay, I think we've taken care of that. We're taking care of that problem. Still reverberating. We got it yet?
You got it, and then it can't.
You hear it twice. You get to hear it twice.
We're in a large crystal dome. And
That's
there's
right.
a-
So that voice in the head keeps repeating and repeating and repeating what it is that satisfies it. And it is something that lives in the past and wants to live in the future, but ignores being here in the present. So that being the case, we're stuck. We're stuck in a loop that doesn't take us where we want to go. And it doesn't bring us back to who we truly are. It doesn't bring us back to the identity, that divine identity that we have, until we're able to find ourselves in the present. It's only in that present time that we can supersede some of the negative things of ego. Oh, ego helps us navigate life, important. But in terms of identity, who we are does not live in the past or in the present. It lives right here, or like in the future, it lives right here in the present. That's why when Scott Bolzan began to recreate, he was here in the present. He began to recreate his life in the present. What an opportunity that was in an otherwise horrific situation. So when we think of identity, we think about our false identity or pretend identity, as Eckhart Tolle would say, but we also think about the challenge of knowing ourselves. Going all the way back to the Greeks, know thyself, came down through history with many iterations in different cultures even. William Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true, know yourself. I question whether I know myself in the way I want to know myself. Because what I'm knowing is a story that I'm telling about past and future. Not knowing that present time. So there's that ego, but there is that present time reality. And that is often couched in a term that we use, the Christ. The Christ in you. Not Jesus the Christ, but the Christ in you. One of Unity's earliest writers, Emily Cady, said this in some of the language will be, I want to share a quote, but some of the language will be antiquated for us. But the truth is there nonetheless. She does this in a book, How I Used Truth. And she says this in a section called Finding the Christ in Ourselves. We must all recognize that it was the Christ within which made Jesus what he was. And our power now to help ourselves and to help others lies in our getting to comprehend the truth, for it is truth, whether we realize it or not, that this same Christ lives within us as it lived in Jesus. It is the part of himself which God has put within us and which ever lives there with an inexpressible love and desire to spring to the circumference of our being or to our consciousness as our sufficiency for all things. Your identity, know it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you think it's true or not, your core identity is in the divine. And that divine is presence, is ever present. Doesn't get involved in the stories that are past, doesn't repeat them over and over again, doesn't worry about the future. The divine, the Christ within, lives and expresses in the present. So the question I think for me, and I hope for you today, is who am I? Well, one very simple way to know who I am is to look to your heart and say, who do I long to be? Who do I long to be? Because that question is right here and right now. Who do I long at this very minute to be? And there we begin to get some cues to our identity, which, as we've said, is a divine identity, wherein the Christ lives within us and is eager to express. So we have a choice, ego or spirit, the pretend self or the true self, the Christ self, the big S self, the higher self, however you would say it. Identity, number one important thing. Second thing I'd like to talk about is values, strong values. Values are something that are very important in our country, or have been since its inception. And as we read the Declaration of Independence, we see several of them there. And I thought I'd just cherry pick 4 of them. That'll give us an idea of how we can work with values in a way that is compatible with the identity of who we are. So as you read the Declaration of Independence, you read equality. All men, all women, didn't say that, but I'm saying it. All are created equal. That equality is a value. It is, in my opinion, a divine value. For we are created not separate from one another, not one of us less than another, not one of us more than another, but equal in the eyes of the divine, if the divine were to have eyes. So how do we express that in our life? How do we take that strong value and live it out? Well, what do we support? Do we say I'm a little bit better because I live here, or I have this much money, or I have this kind of success, or I'm this gender, or I'm this race, this ethnicity? I don't mean that we say it out loud. I'm talking about, do we say that to ourselves? If that strong value of equality is there within us and we culture that, it will come out in an expression in our society that affirms equality. To be specific, it's going to affirm that each of us, being equal, has the opportunity to vote and to be represented. I think that's issue in our society, and I'm not hesitant to speak out about it because I think it's the truth. The other values that I see in that Declaration of Independence is, remember the three: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What about life? If that's a value I have, value of life, the physical life of myself, my family, and everyone else, how do I address that in society? How do I speak with regard to that? Or do I hesitate to speak? If that in fact is my value and I live it out, I might speak and say, what are the ways that we can preserve life in our society? What are the ways that violence, and particularly gun violence, can be lessened? How can I be on the side of life? Because if I say that I have godly or high values, but yet I don't put it out there, that I am a proponent of life for everyone. And I'll do what I can to preserve and extend that. Liberty. I think that Viktor Frankl expressed it most, and he talked about liberty and freedom, and he said that you always have a choice as to how you respond in something. This is a very spiritual kind of thing. I am free, I am unlimited, there are no chains that bind me is a hymn that we sing. Well, are we free? Do we have that value and do we live it out? Or do we complain about the situations in life? Do we sit thinking we're subject to what happens out there and we don't act on our unlimited nature? We don't take that power of imagination that's ours. We don't use that. We don't take our thought, which creates, and use that because we think we're limited, or we worry about what won't happen or what will happen. We, in fact, have the value of liberty. Let's live it out, just each of us individually. And you know what that is for you. What way are you limited? What way do you think you have no choice? Find a way to live that out. Take one small step. And then the pursuit of happiness. Happiness, contentment, joy. That is there for all of us. That is a value that we hold. Well, if we hold that value, how are we going to express that? Probably we're going to let go of a lot of things. We talked about letting go a lot last month. Letting go will allow us to experience the happiness. What doesn't work for us is what much of our society has chosen. That wealth, that more stuff, more toys, bigger house, all of those. Emmett Fox was a metaphysical teacher who was once asked how could he help people and what people could he help to achieve happiness. They asked the question, how about, is it easier to help a rich person or a poor person to achieve happiness? His curt answer was a rich person. They know that money doesn't make them happy. So let's look for those things that create that contentment within, and they can be very simple. That's how we take our values and live them out in the world. And you have to take that next step to what's that simple thing that I want to pursue, that I want to value, that I want to give my attention to. And then we go on to that last part, speaking the truth in love. Donna, he talked about the truth. So important. we in Unity and New Thought people are often refer to ourselves as truth students. We're looking for truth. We're always looking for truth. And I think that's very right. The thing is, there are some things that get in the way of finding that truth, and often it's how we speak. There's that beautiful little book, The Four Agreements. I'm sure some of you will know that book, Four Agreements. And one of those agreements is be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable. I like to use the word flawless. Impeccable is kind of a big word. Be flawless with your word. So if you are flawless with your word, how does that work out? Look into your own experience, and I'll just share a little bit of mine. I'm a fudger from way back. I don't tell big lies. But I learned when I was young that it might be to my advantage. It actually wasn't, but it might be to my advantage to fudge just a little bit. To say, when asked, did you do that? Yeah, I did that. Now let me go do that quick. So I didn't get in trouble. Fudging. Another big one that is there for us is to not value information. This is a tough one in our time. Disinformation, misinformation. And it challenges us because we have to look to see the validity of information as much as we possibly can. Each of us will have our own way to do that. But that is honoring the word, the truth, as best we can understand that. There's another thing that that we don't do well with regard to our word, and I referred to it before, and that's the stories that we tell. We tell that same story over and over again to anybody who possibly will listen to it. Our grievance about this, our problem with that, do we tell it again and again and again? I suspect that's not being flawless with your word. Certainly not consistent with your identity. Maybe not your values as well. And then are we bold to speak our truth? Do we sit by and just let things happen when we're inspired? Something inside of us is saying, it's time to speak. Because this is something that goes contrary to my values. It's time to speak. Now, that's not always the case, but often it is. Are we bold to speak? And on the other side of that, do we speak with love? We might ask 3 questions to ourselves. Is it true? Or we repeat it. Is it kind? And is it necessary? Often we jump off into something, a tirade against something that simply isn't necessary. It is not being flawless with our word. So I would suggest that if we are to do these 3 things, to know ourselves, to get a good handle on our identity, if we are to seek to practice sound values, and if we are to be flawless with our words, then we have a little bit of work to do. Let's not point the finger out there at society. Let's look to do the work, because that's what we can do to change. We may not be able to change anything out there, but we can change what's in here. So I would like to suggest 3 things. If you've got something to write down, this is a good thing to write. This is your assignment. Number 1, listen to the voice of your heart, not the voice in your head. Got that one? Listen to the voice of your heart, not the voice in your head. 2, make a list of your core values. I got lost in the shuffle. I had a little pad of sticky notes. When we were making a plan for Unity of Payson, what, 3 years ago or so, we looked to set out what our core values were. And we suggested core values and we stuck them up on, I don't know if we used sticky notes, but we put them up there and we just we brainstormed all the values that were true for us. I suggest that you can do this yourself, that you can get a handle on your values so that you can act on them by knowing what's important to you. So take that pad of sticky notes, just sit there and brainstorm with yourself, stick them up on the wall or stick them on the back of a door or someplace like that. 1 or 2 words. This is a value for me. If it's life, we talked about that. If it's happiness, but what it is for you, you in your place, not somebody else's thought, but your thoughts, what comes from within you. Do that for a dozen or so, maybe 2 dozen, depends on how prolific you are with sticky notes. But do that, stick them up on the wall. Then take and look at the one that's number 1. That's the most important value for you. And number 2, number 3, number 4, and make it 5. Choose 5 of those 18 values that you have up there. I'm choosing the number. And take the rest of them down, put them aside, they may be there later. And look at those values and say to yourself, maybe you can look at them daily, at least once daily. It'd be a great thing if you could. I think I'm going to try that. How can I live out these strong values? How can I express them in the world? What is mine to do with regard to this? So that's identity and values. Now about your word. I did remember this because it's in my pocket all the time. One of my back pockets, I have a little mini composition books. I put them there and I have a pen in my pocket. Usually, sometimes I have to look around for one. I suggest that you listen to what you say. When you find something that you say, so, oh, I like the way I said that. That was good. Write it in the little book or a scrap of paper or whatever works for you, but have something that's with you all the time. And write that in your book on your scrap of paper. And then if you say something, that's not really speaking the truth in love. And it may not be speaking the truth at all. Write it down. Be honest with it. Take that and keep a little diary of what you said, how you listened to yourself. And I think you'll be making progress. I think you'll be lifting up your integrity inch by inch by inch. So I challenge you to do that today. Know who you are. Take the values that are important to you. Seek to live them out. And be flawless with your words. Pay attention to what you say. And so it is.
Thank you, Rev Neal, for that inspiring message. We're going to listen to music and prepare for meditation now. And so, are you ready?
I am one, simple and plain. No superpowers, no famous name. But I stand tall, 'cause I believe something greater has come alive inside of me. I have felt all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, in a world where so many feel lost, in a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I know God.
Let's take a time now for quiet. Let's breathe, just breathe. And savor the life-giving air. Exhale. Let it slip away. All that impedes you. Let's do that a couple of times. Breathe in. Let go. Breathe. This time of meditation is a time of presence. So what you may have let go will be the past on one side, the future on another. It's only quiet. There's no time but now. So imagine with me that on your left hand, there is those stories that you tell about yourself. There is all of the circumstances of your life, what's happened to you, the people that have been there for you or not for you. Let them edge away from you just a little bit. On the right side, take the projections that you've made, the things you worry about, the reflections of the past that you see in the future. See them move away from you just a little bit. And see as though it were a bubble that surrounds you, where none of those past and future events can break through. You are in the present moment. And then notice in that presence that you are unencumbered as you have been in your life before now. Unencumbered because none of the baggage is there with you. It's all excluded. Rest. 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 Peace of mind. Peace of heart. And as you sit in that bubble, resting in the peace of the divine, you suddenly know things more brilliantly and more precisely than you ever have before. Love can be a nebulous term, but here it is shining. Here it is pulsing. Here it is just warming and blessing everything within reach. You know love. You know, joy in a particularly heightened way. Because all of the baggage is gone. That great contentment, that great joy. Not for something that happened or for something that may happen, but just joy, the joy of spirit. That joy fills your bubble and other things as well. The sense of knowing all of the mysteries, all of the confusion, the chaos that sometimes weighs on you is gone. When you know, and you know that you know. So you see yourself with new eyes and you realize it's not a new you, it's the you that was there all along. It's the you that will go forward with a new integrity to live life. And you're grateful. Rest in this for a moment, in the silence. And appreciate that is yours in this presence. Full of gratitude. You begin to walk back toward your everyday awareness, but differently you walk back. Moving on this higher level. Inspired to take step by step. So bring your awareness back to this physical space, wherever it is for you at this time. With immense gratitude, knowing that you now know a little bit more of who you truly are, what is possible for you. So close.
Am reminded, I took several classes at Unity Village between 2016, when I met Neil there, and 2018, when I got my license as a Unity teacher. Several weeks at a time. And at the end of, near the end of one of those weeks, I remember waking up and at Unity Village is really beautiful. If you haven't been there, it's just really, really beautiful. And they have a green hotel. And I love staying in that hotel. The air is really pure, the water is pure. And I woke up one morning with this phrase in my head. When the classes started at 8 a.m. and they ended at 5 p.m. every day, so get up early. Anyway, this thought was, I know that I know that I know. And I was so excited about it that I had to tell my classmates when I got to the class, I know that I know that I know. And other people picked it up because they were knowing that they knew too. And several people were saying it out loud before the first teacher, it was really a stir. I created quite a stir there, but it was wonderful. And that's what I was reminded of during the meditation. And then to add to that, and I am grateful. And I am grateful. That just solidifies it. So now it is time to share our gifts and offerings. Unity of Payson appreciates your gifts in support of this ministry. These gifts not only support this spiritual community, but they go out to the larger community as well. As you listen to the offering song, you'll have time to make a contribution. The offering velvet bags will be passed here in Payson. And if you're attending virtually, the information for giving is on the slides that you are seeing, that we're not seeing. But please bring your attention to your gift at this time, and let's call to mind our heart's desires. We desire joy. We desire life. We desire love. And let's remember that we can claim those values, those powers by saying, I am joy. I am love. I am life. And let's do our giving affirmation. I'll say it first, and then you can say it with me. Freely we give, and freely we receive. Together, freely we give, and freely we receive. Now it's time for I've seen the light.
There was a time when I took everything for granted. I was young and I could do most anything. I could climb a rocky mountainside, swim a river far and wide. I was soaring with the clouds beneath my wings. Life was living me as the years kept passing by me. But I remember thinking time was on my side. It never even crossed my mind that I should pause and take the time to give some thanks for all the blessings in my life. Now I'm grateful for the sunrise every morning, and I'm grateful for the people in my life, for my blessings and concerns, for all the lessons that I've learned. I'll never take for granted one more starry night. And I guess that you could say I've seen the light. Well, the day soon came that changed my life forever. I found myself being shaken to the core. The thought of facing my demise I didn't want to realize, but then I found the answers deep within my soul. Now I'm looking at the world with eyes of wonder. And I know that there are angels everywhere. When your luck has gone astray and you can't make it through the day, just say a prayer of thanks and help will come your way. And be grateful for the sunrise every morning. And be grateful for the people in your life. For your blessings and concerns, for all the lessons that you've learned. And never take for granted one more starry night. Yes, I'm grateful for the sunrise every morning. And I'm grateful for the people in my life. For my blessings and concerns, for all the lessons that I've learned. I'll never take for granted one more starry night. And I guess that you could say I've seen the light. I've seen the light.
I'm gonna do. We're grateful for these gifts. We're grateful for the givers. We're going to say the dedication of the offering together. And I can do it call and response. Divine love through us.
Divine
Love through us. Blesses and multiplies. Blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we have, all that we give, all that we give, and all that we receive, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous. We are abundantly prosperous, and we give thanks. We give thanks. And so it is. Amen. Thank you, thank you. And now it is time for connection, where we recognize in the gallery view our virtual attendees, which you can do on your iPad. I guess not. And then we're going to pan out to our audience also. So they can see you. Wave when the camera
Smile.
goes.
Wave.
And you cannot see them, but they can see you.
Okay, there's a couple of you look like you're in the witness protection program. Too late,
Thank
too
you.
We are
bad.
delighted to
Slow
have
that,
people
slow
here.
that camera down so we could actually see who's there. So, but that's okay. That's all right. Nice to see you all.
We're
Hello.
handicapped here, Joy.
We
Joy
can see what we're doing.
Joy is joining us from Colorado.
Hello,
Thank you, Joy.
from Colorado.
And others, because I can't, do you have a gallery there, Tom? I can't.
I've got it up. Jennifer's on,
Jennifer,
Teresa, Elizabeth and Mary up in Flagstaff,
okay.
and Kathy.
Teresa brought cake. I've had it in my freezer and it's back there, so
Ooh.
please.
We have cake later. This is an important part.
Innovation.
But there are three people that are with us here in person. Mona, Rosemary, and Holly. I remember this time, Holly's been joining us for morning coffee a couple times this week anyway, and that's been great. So we're delighted for all of you who are here. We want to connect you. I wish that you were in person, could see the people that are online. Come next week. You know, we'll get it figured out by then. But
Welcome to your new home.
we are one, and so we celebrate that oneness. Sort of.
I have
So if you'd like to see some of the people that are here, I'm just gonna parade in front.
Uh-oh, it went off.
No, I took it off. Sorry. I thought you were
That's okay.
stepping up.
We're good. There are people out there that are with us here.
Next Sunday's speaker is Rev Neal Worthington. Our theme for June is integrity. And again, the affirmation is, I am by nature a divine expression. I speak the truth in love and live in harmony with my values. I will share a few announcements with you today. Our meetings are on Zoom. Love offerings are appreciated. Again, our regular weekly events are morning cafe, Monday through Saturday at 9:30. Qigong and Tai Chi, moving meditation with Teresa, Sundays and Wednesdays at 4:30, but today it's 5 p.m. And let's see, gardening at Shanti Olmsted with Ram. Contact Ram to participate. We have a Course in Miracles coming up this Tuesday.
Okay.
At the very end. There you go. You can just read it. I don't have to read it.
Oh, wow.
Writers Group, for those who love to write, Thursday, June 9th, 4 p.m. Sunset on the Rim with Tom, Friday, June 10th at 6 p.m. And The Gathering, Sunday at June 12th at 1 p.m. Topic, aromatherapy. And a PS from Neil. Now that you get comfortable, it's time to come back.
So you couldn't see, if you're here in Payson, you couldn't see the screen, but the message for next week is, I may forget it, but I know I guess I can. What you think about me is none of my business. So it has to do with integrity, believe it or not, and it's something that's on my heart. I would just mention a couple of things that aren't there. Next Sunday morning, you may want to come a little early. Good friend Bob Hirschberger has written a book called The Diary of an Alzheimer's Caregiver. He had that experience with his first wife, and he's just published the book, and he will be here in person with books to offer. So if you can come about 9:30, we'll maybe set him up at a table right outside here so you can see that. He's going to be here for the Methodist Church as well, so he's kind of covering all the territory. But Bob has become a friend, a little bit of a golf partner now and then. And he's too good of a golfer for me, but he's also a very creative guy, and I look forward to reading the book, which I have not as of yet. And that's about it. We have our peace song and the prayer for protection to end the service. So if you're here in person, would you stand with me while we sing the peace song? Hopefully you remember the words. Just stumble. Oh,
They're right there.
now. All right. Sort of.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be. But God has created family are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me.